Oh, here we are, man, responding to more comments made on different podcasts. Now, this is not really that big of a deal, but it was taking over my Twitter timeline so much to the point that I decided, hey, this is a conversation. Today we're talking about the Staff and Graph podcast, a show hosted by Rachel Dory and Mikey Stevens, both of whom have been very involved in the hockey world. Mikey Stevens is a part of the PHWA, and Rachel Dory, of course, used to be a member of the Vancouver Canucks. And they recently had themselves an episode that got a lot of people mad. This was posted earlier yesterday, and you could see some of the replies. Awful, no wonder you guys don't have any listeners. How to make people think you're... Why are people talking about this? What's happening here? Well, I'm going to go out there and say I personally did not listen to the podcast myself, but I will leave a link in the description if you want to listen to Staff and Graph yourself. The hockey minds behind it are indeed very well respected around the business, so their voices are worth listening to. But this podcast got a lot of criticism from Montreal Canadiens fans because of what they said about Juraj Slafkovsky. Habs on Reddit quote tweeted this, saying, "These two losers are calling 19-year-old Juraj Slafkovsky a bust for not being a point-per-game player only 93 games into his NHL career, and it's absolutely hilarious." Now, just in case you needed the update, Slafkovsky is not a point-per-game player, unfortunately. He is at 29 points in 54 games played and 44 points over 82 as a projection pace. However, as we have talked about in multiple videos, he has exploded offensively with 9 points in his last 5 games. He's a goal-a-game guy, and 12 points in his last 10 games. Juraj Slafkovsky, for all intents and purposes, has been a point-per-game player the past few weeks, and it is brilliant. You then had yourselves the replies over here from Rachel Dory herself. She responded to Habs on Reddit calling them losers. Maybe listen to the entire podcast. We said that he would be a solid middle six guy on a contending team. A first overall pick should be a top-line star averaging a point per game. So he's not a bust as a prospect. He's just not first overall caliber compared to the value that a team should expect from first overall. And this response got a lot of people very upset. Has Slafkovsky hit his ceiling? How could you possibly know that he's all but destined to be a solid middle six player without even seeing a full season from him? He's 19 years old. You're going to judge him as if he's a finished product? Don't double down. Listen to the criticism, take it in, whatever, and then you can see there's a lot of replies. Going out there and angrily talking about this. And so much to the point that even Hottie K went out there and responded to this situation. I've been a big fan of Hottie's work for years. They do scouting for Dalibor prospects, and they said this: "With all due respect to Rachel, this just isn't the level of analyses I expected from her. Slafkovsky has been the second best player on an NHL team. Not a good one, but still, at 19 years old. No other player in the 2022 draft is even remotely close to his level. Kind of early for the bust label, no?" And I will say that when it comes to that conversation, if you wanted to bring up that particular point, Juraj Slafkovsky is the best player out of these guys in the NHL right now. Like, Pavel Michkov has been good with the Anaheim Ducks, but his impact on Anaheim is not equal to what Slafkovsky has done for Montreal. You could say that Simon Nemec has had a really good season with the New Jersey Devils, but similar thing could be said about him. Logan Cooley has been good, but Slafkovsky has exploded the past little while. He is legitimately one of the best players, and so realistically, when you're comparing Slafkovsky to any of the other names that the Canadiens could have gotten first overall, like, Shane Wright isn't even in the NHL right now. Now, I get it, his development has taken a turn where that's kind of the point. They don't want him in the NHL right away, but the point remains. He could be contributing on the Seattle Kraken, or he could be in the AHL. Who's to say that if the Montreal Canadiens drafted Shane Wright first overall in 2020, that Wright would be as good as Slafkovsky is right now with the Canadiens? Is the 2024 version of Shane Wright, who is currently in the AHL, as capable as Slafkovsky is if you swapped places and put Wright on the Canadiens today? You could very well say no, because for Juraj, he has just been so much better the past few weeks everywhere else. In terms of his shooting, he's getting his shots on goal, his attacking the net has been working out very well, his plays, the playmaking style, the passing, his tenacity. He has learned so much from that first season a year ago where he was getting taken down and getting hit by guys that are smaller than him and losing footing and everything. He has adjusted so much over the course of this past calendar year that it's kind of unbelievable, to be honest, seeing how everything has gone this way. It's also part of the reason why Martin St. Louis looks like such a genius right now for telling the Canadiens, hey, don't send Slafkovsky down. Keep him up in the NHL. That was a conversation we had back in November, and now Slafkovsky is one of the best players on the Canadiens. So the entire idea floating around that he is considered a bust, or maybe could be defined as a bust, I understand the philosophy behind it. Like, you could definitely say that a first overall pick should be that, a first-line player averaging a point per game. But the thing is, I mean, Slafkovsky's literally been doing that. He is a first-line player, on the Montreal Canadiens at least, and he has been over a point per game. Plus, he's 19, so who's not to say that he's not going to get any better? The idea that you could say, okay, yeah, we think he would be a solid middle six guy and a contender, that's fair. You could have your reservations over the future, and you can talk about what you think this guy's going to be, because at the end of the day, nobody knows. Like, you can think that he's going to be this, you can think he's going to be that. We had Peter Forsberg coming out there, I think, saying that Slafkovsky reminded him of Mikko Rantanen, and so there's a lot that you could debate as to whether or not Slafkovsky is going to be as good as he's going to be. But right now, he kind of aligns directly with what you're saying a first overall pick should be. A first-line player averaging a point per game. He is doing this at 19 years old, and he's one of the best players on his team. So, for now, Juraj Slafkovsky, is he a bust? Hell nah, bro. Hell nah. He is not that kind of a guy at this point in his career. And I think heading into the next few years, as long as Slafkovsky continues to build upon this, the 29 points he has in 54 games played, the 12 points he's had in his last 10 games and 9 points in his last 5, there very well could be a world where Juraj Slafkovsky ends up getting that point per game, 82 point, 90 point season under his belt and becomes defined as a top-line stud, first overall caliber guy, power forward winger who's got some great playmaking and everything in between. We just made a video a few days ago talking about how Juraj Slafkovsky has officially caught up to Jack Hughes. This commentary went over how some of the numbers align. Okay, I don't want to watch my own videos like that, but this video talks strictly about the point production and how Slafkovsky has actually matched Jack Hughes at this early stage in his career. So by this logic, if you want to talk about the potential and the numbers, point per game-ish territory, is Jack Hughes a bust? Was Jack Hughes defined as a bust back in 2020, 2021? Again, I told y'all, we made the videos talking about how Jack Hughes and his overall production was not good, but these were mostly factual based. They were saying, hey, I think he's going to have a good career, he's going to be fantastic. It's just, he happened to have the worst first overall rookie season in 20 years. And then it was beaten out because Alexis Lafreniere had an even worse one the next year. But either way, thoughts in the comment section below about the new Juraj Slafkovsky drama, talking about whether or not he's a bust, and shining some light on different interpretations of what a first overall player should be. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, a link is going to be in the description if you want to go ahead and listen to the Staff and Graph podcast. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.